Hi, welcome back to Lost, or Let's Hack Open Source Software Together. This is part 2 in the series on adding support for allowed legacy names to our GraphQL schema that we use through Relay. In this part, we will make the first set of fixes that we need in order to achieve our goal, and that is going to be in the graphql-js package. If you have not seen part 1, please definitely do check that one. Otherwise, without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so it seems like to make this to finalize this work, what needs to happen is we need to make a patch to GraphqL-js to actually copy over these types of configurations when extend schema is used. And then, let's see, we also really need a way to pass in from the command line interface, from the relay command line interface, the option of what fields to allow. All right, so first things first, we need to fix this extend schema function. Let's see if I already have GraphqL-js checked out. I guess not. Pretty sure that this is where it lives on GitHub. I use Hub, by the way, which is an extension that makes working with GitHub a bit easier through the Git CLI. All right, so let's create a branch. So extend schema and maintain options, I guess. Let's see, it has a yarn log file, means they use yarn, so I'm going to use node 8. And then we're going to yarn install. Alright, so that finished installing. Let's see, I'm going to assume that they have a test. So it's always good to always run tests before doing any work, just to make sure that everything is green. There's nothing worse than doing a bunch of work and only then running the tests and being confronted with a bunch of failing tests and not realizing that those were already failing before you started doing any work. Alright, so it's finally finished. Everything is green, so that's good. Now we can start doing work here. So let's see. So the file we were interested in is called extend schema. There we go. And we also want the test for it. Alright, so this screen. Guess I could just use the green button here. Anyways. Alright, let's see. I also want to see the terminal. So even though we know that everything was green, I'm just going to... It seems like they were using the Mocha test runner. So I can just do... Let's see. I guess we can't. Let's see. Oh, we need to use battle mode. That's cool. Okay. So let's see. There we go. That's a lot faster than trying to run that whole test suite every time. Cool. Okay, let's see what is happening here. So they create a bunch of types, and this is where the test starts. Returns the original schema when there are no type definitions. Extends without altering original schema. Let's see if we can find anything about options. No, I think they called it config internally. Nope, nothing like that either. Okay. Well, in that case, it's just probably a long list of a whole bunch of tests. So I'm just going to add our tests to the end, I suppose. Well, here's an extra one. Let's see. It's not allow extending a non-object type. Alright. So let's add it here instead. Alright, so it maintains configuration of the original schema object. Yeah, I don't know why is it red. That's just the linter being pesky. Right. So we need a schema object, but remember that I said it's not part of the schema definition language, so we can't do this. So, or actually this is the ASC that they extend the schema with, so that's something different. So we want, apparently that's a test schema, but that test schema is already created. Here we go. Yeah. Well, I guess we can just add it here. You know, why not? This seems to be the fixture for all of the tests. So, let's see. I still have it in my password. No, that's unfortunate. Okay, it was allowed. Oh, here we go. It's completing. And here we are going to say. Let's see, I guess we should add. Let's add a field. Okay, so seeing as I am changing this test schema that affects all tests, let's just make sure that adding a field here doesn't break the existing tests. And I wonder if we can tell Mocha to, oh there we go, it's breaking a whole bunch of tests. Is that really bad? Let's see. Well, this one is actually because of the validation that we want to disable. Yeah, I guess we should just update all the tests. Okay, so this one we should fix by doing this basically. So that should bring us down to 8 failing tests. Let's see if that's indeed true. No. This is actually the same bug. So extend schema creates a new schema object, and it's not maintaining a configuration, right? So let's see. We should fix all the other ones. Let's see, where is that at? Okay, so that should be that one. Let's see. Deal here. Okay. Okay, so we're down to one failure, which is indeed the one that we're actually trying to fix. Let's finish our test. So let's see. I wonder, we don't really need any AST. I wonder if so let's see, what is this? Oh, this is actually not needed. We really don't need this. Oops. And let's see if we can just do this. And so this is the new schema, and then we want to expect that. Oof. Allowed legacy names. What is this? Testing matcher. I guess this is the one we're looking for. Right, so on the new schema object we expect this option to be set to this. Let's see what happens. I guess that's just because of our empty thing here. What could we do? Maybe a comment. Okay, I guess we'll just extend something then. Doesn't really matter. Interesting. Maybe we could have just extended the schema to have a bad name here and not have to update all the other tests. Let's see. So we would. Okay, let's see that. So we're going to extend type query to add another bad name. There we go. Let's see what happens now. What am I doing wrong? Oh. I was trying to parse the already parsed AST. Okay, so the test is failing because of our missing bad name. So I'll see if we can just extend it here and remove all of the other tests, remove the bad name from all the other tests later on. Okay, so let's see. The fix needs to be here, right? It's interesting that it continues. I just want to make sure that this is the only place where a new schema gets created. Yeah, okay. So probably also wanted to copy the assume valid option, but let's first worry about the one that we were actually trying to get for to work. So here we're just going to copy whatever was in the original schema. Yep. In the meantime, this project uses Flow, so I don't know if I have that enabled by default. Let's see. No. So I'll enable that for the workspace. Gotta reload the workspace. Let's run the test again. Okay, so expected bad name to equal bad name. I guess equal does like exact checking. What else do we have options here? Equal definitely seems to be the way to do it. I'm not really familiar with Mocha. I guess we could work around that by not creating a new array and string, but just getting it from the original test schema. Okay. Yep. So that passes. Let's just go back. Something about prettier. Okay, whatever. Okay, let's see if we can fix yeah, let's clean up the rest of the tests by this one stays, and then we remove it from here. We just leave this configuration in place. Yep, that still passes, but that's good. Okay, so that gives us the code we want. Let's just run all the tests to be sure that we didn't break anything else. Alright, we're back. Let's see, we have some failures here. So the failure is that we are passing in a read-only array and it's expecting a readable array, a writable, immutable array. So that wants basically a new array. Okay, well I guess we can just do this, which should give us a new array. Or maybe we can just, I don't know what graphql-js otherwise does. We can just do it with the normal way, which I think is splice. we want it to start from 0. We're not going to delete anything. Yes, this should return us a copy. Okay, that failed, which makes sense, because first of all, it can be undefined or null, and so calling this method on it could lead to an exception. And second of all, splice is actually a mutating method, even if we don't really do that, and so that does not exist on a read-only array. So I think so first of all we should make sure that it exists before doing anything. And then I wonder if maybe slice the non-mutating version. Slice should do it. So we make sure that it exists, and so it should be fine. I'm not going to run the whole test suite again because let's first just make sure that we pass the type checker. So let's run the whole test suite again. Right, so it's failing again, being too wide. So okay, seems like there's some failure here. Oh yes, okay, so the test is now failing because obviously we're making a copy. Alright, let's see, what can we do? Okay, so we probably want this. It seems like it's using the standard library node assert functions. So we probably want to do this, and then we're going to do. Okay, let's just run this test file to make sure that that works. Nope. Okay, that's not it. So I'm using something called chai. Right. Oops. Okay, that's working. I'm gonna run the test suite one final time. Alright, we're all green. So now we just need to commit this. Let's see what this project usually does. Maybe they have a change log. No, there does not appear to be a change log, so we don't need to do that part. Let's see how they usually format their git commits. Lee Byron is the maintainer. It doesn't seem to be a very strict format. I'm not going to use mine, which is to start with the topic and then the rest of the subject, because that's definitely a lot different. So I guess we're just going to just have a subject. Okay. Yeah, should be it. Alright. Yep. So I'm pretty sure that I already have a fork of this repo on my GitHub account. So I just need to add let's see if it actually works. Not found. So I guess not. Hub should be able to do that. So we can do git fork, maybe. There we go. Okay. So now we can push this to my fork. Oh. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to write up a description. I probably cut out that part. Alright, so I just created the PR, and we have it. So I recognize that this RC1 release adds this option, and then I explain what our case is and why this doesn't work, which is that we use relay, and internally relay uses extend schema, but that function does not maintain this option, and that's the new schema that complains. This PR addresses that, and it would be really nice if we could have a second release candidate with this patch. Unfortunately, that obviously means we can't really finalize any relay PR until RC2 is released. Just a quick look. Always double check your own PR to make sure there's nothing silly left in. This all looks good. Alright. Then I will continue this vlog when this PR is merged and a RC2 version gets released, so that we can actually make a PR to relay that uses that version. That almost wraps up part 2 in this series. I just wanted to give you an update that since I made that video 2 days ago and created this PR, you can see by now it has been merged and there has been some back and forth, and I wanted to quickly take you through how that works. Ivan is another regular contributor to this repository and many other GraphQL related repositories, and he had some feedback. Let's see. Right, so he mentioned that all auto tests used to equal, which we recognized and we tried, but tries equal as an identity comparison instead of an equality comparison. And then he says, did you try the 2deep equal? Nope, I did not. Thanks, we will try that. Indeed, it works. Then he says that it's probably better after all to move this configuration to a new schema object that's just local to the file rather than adding it to the fixture that applies to all tests. Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, did that. And then also a little bit back and forth about why slice is needed at all. This is already an array, can we just pass that in? Yep, well, I explain why that does not work and why it's needed, and this is good. We both walk away with a better understanding. That's I know that somebody has done a thorough review, even if it's not a large PR. They went through all the lines, tried to gain an understanding, tried to provide helpful feedback, and in some cases that leads to me having a better understanding, and in some cases that leads to the other person having a better understanding. So everybody learns. Then I was having dinner, and in that time Lee swept in and just made all those changes. So thank you, Lee. and then it got merged. Unfortunately, because I was so preoccupied with making the video, I forgot to do one of the things I normally do when I hack source, and that is keep notes. You got to keep notes about all the things that you needed to change along the way to make your thing work. Otherwise you might forget something, which happened. If you might recall, I also made some changes related to initially passing the allowed legacy configuration into the original schema object at all. And so I had to make a new PR for that. There's already been some back and forth there, which again has led to a much better understanding on my part of how things should or should not be working. I guess one important thing here to note is that good communication around open source with people requires a bit of empathy and no narcissism. So even if I think I may understand how things work and why they work that way, and then disagree with that, it's probably better to assume that I don't have the full picture yet. And so while I do voice those assumptions that I have built up, which I should, because otherwise there's no way for the other person with more knowledge to address those and improve my understanding. It's good to voice that from a perspective of, I think that such and such works like that. Maybe that's not the best way, etc., etc. You know, it's those little things that make a back and forth much easier. Maintainers have a lot on their plate usually, especially for high visible projects, and it can be tiresome if somebody comes in, if a know-it-all comes in and they don't actually know it all, right? It's just, I'm not speaking for Lee, I'm speaking mainly from my own experience. While I understand that we are all humans, the maintainer, me, is also a human, and if somebody is just better at communication, then you tend to communicate with those people more easily and faster than others. So, good thing to keep in mind. Alright, I'm going to finish off this PR, and the mechanics of making that PR is pretty much the same as the other one. And then once this is in, we can get to part 3, where we actually make the PR to relay. Oh, and if you find this useful, be sure to like and subscribe, and you will know immediately when the new video comes out. Cheerio!